don't really talk about how morals and values can actually be a negative thing, and not the thing itself be negative, but actually impact the way you operate with other people in the world, which is very important.
You have the beginning, middle and end of a book. We have no control over the beginning, we have no control over the end. We have that massive chunk in the middle, and that's where the climax happens. That's where all the really exciting stuff happens.
Today I really want to discuss values and morals. When we're going through education systems, you can probably remember at every school and university or course you've been to, the institution has had some kind of list of values or morals that students are supposed to try and achieve or live by or demonstrate to other students. It might be a quote underneath the school logo, or a kind of an acronym, or the name of the school, whatever it might be. Schools are very good at instilling these values and morals into students from day one and rewarding you for when you demonstrate them really well. One thing they don't do, at least in an obvious way, is actually prepare you for what life is like when you let those values or morals drive you in the wrong direction or become a limiting belief. Now, what do I mean by that? Loyalty, that's my number one value, but what I've found is that it's become a limiting belief over time for me in the past, because I'm naturally so loyal to people and things, and my word and what I say I'm going to do, I do it, and the relationships I get involved in, I commit to them fully. I've found it really difficult to actually take a new pathway if that isn't serving me anymore. For example, leaving a job that isn't fulfilling me anymore, because I've committed to it and given my word that I'll give my all. It's really hard for me to walk away. There's been other times where I've been in friendships that haven't been very positive for me, and it's taken me a long time to kind of find a new normal with them and adjust and walk away for a period of time, because I'm so loyal. It's kind of jaded my ability to see things from a distance. I've had to readjust the way I look at loyalty and readjust the way I behave so that actually it doesn't become something that is holding me back. What's your number one belief or value or moral, and how in your life has that actually played a negative role because it's been too strong? It's been something that's stopped you from being able to see other sides of your life, and how being too honest, for example, always telling the truth no matter whose feelings you're going to hurt, or being so loving that actually you're squashing someone, being so emotional and open about your emotions that actually some people are afraid to tell you the truth. It's a two-way street. Values and morals are always praised up as these things to kind of, standards to live by, and it's really hard for people to go out into the real world and even throughout school and actually understand that sometimes when we fall out with friends or have a disagreement with teachers or whatever it is, sometimes it's not a personality clash, sometimes it's not a difference in opinion, sometimes it's just the fact that your number one value is different to that person's number one value, and they're very subconscious things. But when you actually come to blows with something and need to resolve it, if you're going really hard at it with love and they're going really hard at it with honesty, sometimes those things don't always match up. Even though, if you love someone, you'd be honest with them, you'd also have a better sense of judgment of when to speak and when to actually be honest with that person in return at that time to make them feel loved. Whereas honest people that are just honest no matter what can sometimes come across as abrupt. So sometimes it's not necessarily the opinion that's different that causes the upset or the mayhem or the anger. It's the underlying core values that are driving the way you come across with your decision, and that jading your ability to actually express it in a way that other people can relate to. Because it starts with us. It's like with self-love and all this, self-care and everything. It starts with you. Once you understand and recognise what your values are at the base, there's a whole broad spectrum of values and morals, and we have multiple going on in our lives at play. But there's always one or two that kind of stand out for individuals, and once you really harness what that is, you can go forward powerfully and actually be able to navigate situations, and then learn to recognise what everyone else's are before they even know themselves. And you'll kind of be able to judge, okay, this person likes honesty. What part of my loving nature can I bring out to be able to be honest back? And vice versa, the honest person can then say, this person really needs to feel loved. How can I bring across my honesty in a way that's going to make them feel valued and loved? People don't really talk about how morals and values can actually be a negative thing, and not the thing itself be negative, but actually impact the way you operate with other people in the world, which is very important. Make a list of what your morals and values are, list times that you've lived by them, list times that they've been a positive influence on you, and list times that they've actually had bad outcomes, and then figure out what was the difference between those situations and who that situation involved and what their response was. And then you'll start to understand which parts of that moral or value were at play. Before you misinterpret any of this, I'm not saying don't live by morals and values. What I'm saying is live consciously with them so that you can live by them in the most authentic and connection-driven way. I like to kind of express why this links to the Make Way message of look at your life from the perspective of a writer. Characters in stories often have a really good way of having the same kinds of arguments throughout the story, and there'll always be someone that annoys the main character, or the antagonist always gets in the way, and the friends around the protagonist might always try and egg them on to do particular things in different ways. But it's only when the protagonist hears something, protagonist being you in this case, it's only when the main character hears something from someone worded in a particular way. They might have heard it 6 times, but it's only when it's worded in a particular way that it clicks with them. And that's when they are able to move forward with the action. So for yourself, once you understand that I need to hear things in this way, and this is when it will make most sense to me, and then recognize that with everyone else in your life, and this is how this person needs to hear things for it to be able to sink in, you'll be unstoppable, you'll be really, really strong, you'll be consciously aware every day of how best to manifest your values and morals. Have an awesome day, night, morning, whatever you're doing, and I'll see you soon.